Hi, my name is Emily, and I want to share a story that changed me forever. I was 30 years old when I finally decided to do something that many people take for granted. For years, I waited for the perfect moment. My friends often teased me saying, "Do you really believe in fairy tales? That doesn't happen in real life." But I believed. I believed that when it happened, it would be part of something bigger. And then one day, I met Alex. His voice, his gaze, his touch, they all made me feel like I was finally ready to take a risk. That night changed everything. We met at a dinner hosted at Hilton. I remember how he walked up to me, smiled softly, and said, "You look like someone who knows more than she says." His voice was low, almost velvety. He looked at me as if he could see through me. 2 days later, he called me. "Emily, dinner at Four Seasons, 8 p.m. I remember how my hands trembled as I answered. That evening, I stood in front of my mirror. The black Chanel dress hugged every line of my body. But the red one, it revealed my shoulders, highlighted my curves. I chose the red one. When I walked into the restaurant, he was already there. His gaze met mine, and I felt my breath catch. "You look stunning," he said, as his hand lightly brushed my shoulder. The candles flickered on the table. Music played softly in the background, but all I could hear was his voice. The wine flowed slowly into the glass, leaving a thin, wet trail on the crystal. His eyes lingered on my lips. At some point, I felt his hand gently rest on my knee. My gaze shot up, and my heart started racing. I didn't know what to say. "You're tense," he whispered, leaning in slightly. His voice was warm and soothing, but it felt like there was something more beneath it. His lips were so close I could feel their warmth. I wanted to speak, but my voice betrayed me. After dinner, he offered to drive me home. The car was warm, but my fingers nervously fiddled with the strap of my purse. "I have an idea," he said, turning onto a different street. We stopped at the Ritz-Carlton. As we entered, the air was filled with the scent of fresh flowers, and the marble floors reflected the soft, golden light. In the elevator, I felt the tension reach its peak. His gaze was so strong that I couldn't look away. His hand brushed against mine, and I felt a shiver run through me. When the doors opened, I expected a luxurious hotel room, but instead, he took me to the rooftop. The wind played with my hair, and the city lights stretched endlessly across the horizon. "Do you feel this?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I couldn't answer. I just nodded. That night was more than I could have imagined. Alex didn't take a single step that could ruin the magic. Instead, he showed me what it means to feel alive. The next morning, I found a note on my bedside table. "You're extraordinary. Never forget that." That night was a lesson. A lesson in trust. A lesson in accepting myself. Looking back now, I realize that the wait was worth it. But the real question is, would I do it all over again?